Second question, I need y'all to be real. Do all men cheat?
I'm not here to be right. I'm here to be real.
So the first part of the question was
What is one piece of advice that you would give to single men for the marriage to work? Like, and I'm saying this too because ladies are watching, and I think ladies need to hear this as well. How do we think? How's it work? And then two, I hear this from every single woman that I date. Every man at one point in time of their marriage will eventually cheat. And that bothers me when I hear that as a man.
So I think the biggest thing, like what we're seeing right now, again, it goes back to culture. I think we don't, I think, I'm trying to say this in a way, so basically, I think the younger generation, we hear about it all the time. They have issues coping. So when we talk about communication and having that raw, God-to-honest conversation, being open and vulnerable, to me, that is one of the major pillars of marriage, the vulnerability and communication. If you don't have that, if you can't talk about certain things, or like you said, Pastor Stephen actually said there's three different, you're either going into a storm, you're in the storm, or you're coming out of the storm. And if you are having these conversations and you're going into one of those seasons in your life, the communication is the biggest piece of that, because that's what's going to help you get through it. If only one side of the marriage, if you've got a breadwinner, for instance, let's just say that the husband's doing everything and the wife but it's not a 50-50. The husband is out, he's doing everything. And you're in a storm and you don't have that communication, your spouse is not going to be able to help you through that storm. You have to be able to get through it together. And I think that that's one of the things that's allowed for my wife and I. We've been together for 23 years, but have been married for 17. We've been together since high school, and we've gotten that right from the very beginning. And it's having those conversations and knowing that if I don't know how to solve the problem, she is, because we've communicated about what the strength or weakness is in that particular issue. So that's major for me, and that's, I think, is one of the pillars for us. So if we see we're going into one, it's, babe, it's coming. What are we doing? And then she's going to look at me and say, well, what do you think you can do? And I'm going to say, well, this is what I think I can do, but I know that this is your strength. Get us through it. And I'm here to support you in that.
So let me ask this question, go deeper. Y'all get mics, right?
Second question.
Hold on, I'm about to make the second question even better. Seriously. No, seriously. Because I asked, do all men cheat? I'm going to go deeper on that. Do good men cheat?
So I would say, because we have this conversation too, in 17 years of marriage, depending on what you call that definition of cheating, if we go with the sense of what everyone knows it to be, the physical piece of going to have sex with someone outside of your marriage, the answer to that would probably be no. But does every man cheat when we're talking the emotional piece? Do you go on Instagram? Are you DMing another female? Are you confiding in that female about an issue you're having in your relationship? I think that every man's probably guilty of that, so I would say yes. That is.
I mean, it's technically emotionally cheating. I mean, here's the thing, and I think that it's unfair. Okay, doctor.
I'm getting sick of that.
I mean, here's
like, why don't y'all just...
Go ahead, Doc.
I didn't want to be the one to say it. I know you would.
Yeah. Go ahead, Doc. You want me? Go ahead. Listen to me. I'm talking to you like a brother. Like
That's not how you started off, though.
No.
Giving uncle
this is
vibes.
Big brother advice.
I like long walks on the beach.
Most men cheat. It doesn't matter how bleak that sounds or whatever it is. You can go back 8,000 years ago. It's the same scenario. We can go back to our grandparents. They had families on the other side of town. I'm just saying it's real. That is real. You need to hear the truth. Yeah. And the reason why you need to hear the truth is because you can't have a conversation about what's real until you accept the true nature of what's going on today, right now.
Especially.
Most men cheat, and the thing is, women are cheating too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about most.
Especially today.
Women should tell us if most women cheat, because I need some clarity.
Question for you.
I think it's always.
Hold on. Steve.
Anthony,
We all the same.
you the money guy,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Would you say the majority of people are losing at money?
Absolutely.
Give me a number. What percentage of people?
80% of the people in America live paycheck to paycheck.
80% of people in America live paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. All right. And what percentage of people are investing in their future, are going to have wealth to retire, all that other good stuff?
That's going to be right around like 11 to 15% of people.
So the majority of people don't have investments, aren't ready for the future. So what people will say is, well, 80% of the people are no good with money or don't trust the stock, so I'm scared to invest. Why are we taking the 80% as the standard? Instead of saying, let me figure out what the 11 or 5% are doing.
Thank you.
Because I want to be in the 5%. Let me bring it home. So single folks will say, I don't want to get married because 50 or 60% of people end in divorce. Well, you didn't say you don't want to be wealthy because 80% of people aren't wealthy. You're only applying that to relationships out of fear. But I'm going to get in trouble.
And we call it being real.
Listen, I'm going to get in trouble as a pastor. The majority of humanity sucks. They're not my standard. I'm trying to be the top 10%, and I'm not even looking at the 60 as an example of what my future is going to look like, because my future is not going to look like that.
So what we do is we don't
like,
use the same financial principles.
We don't.
If you know this, Anthony, if you're coaching somebody, you're going to get a standard of 10% and say, watch them. Forget the other 90. Now, I'm not excluding the other 90 didn't happen. And that's not saying I'm not real. I'm going to say, watch that. Because what we do is we say, all men are this. So that what you just did is culminated every man and made 100%. And you put me in that boat. You said me. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. My wife said that, you said me.
The majority of men
That man
that
took it
have
personal.
the majority of men that have the options to cheat will cheat. That's just what it is.
To be honest, we have to also be realistic about pastors. Forgive me.
So what you got to say?
We have to be honest about the history of people, okay, and the history of relationships. For those of you that don't know, monogamy was a 300-year war between the Christians and the nobles between 600 to 900 AD. And then after 900, once they won, monogamy was set to be the guiding standard for relationships. So when we say, okay, cool, there was a war amongst this world about the way people should conduct themselves in a relationship. And now we're sitting here and saying, well, 80% of people possibly could be cheating. Men and women. I just learned that women cheat too.
You should have known that, bro.
I just never experienced, well, I don't know if I experienced it or not, but they must be really good. But what I'm trying to say is,
They are.
saying is, it's unfair. Like, the whole cheating idea is unfair to people because the fact that people are going to cheat and the odds are against you, but the fact that cheating allows you to cheat yourself from a good relationship is the part that bothers me. Because there's a person who may be loyal to you and not really faithful to you. And I do think that there's thresholds. So if he's doing everything he promised you, if he's taking care of you, he's still, thank you. That's God.
He's not doing everything he promised you, but go ahead.
No, I mean, but to be honest, if he says, hey, I promise to never cheat on you, he's wrong. Yes. Okay? But I do think that, especially right here,
What?
If he promised it.
No.
Yes?
What'd you say? You say it again. If he promised.
If he promised you to not cheat on you and cheats on you, he's wrong.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I was lost. I told you I'm saying. Slow down.
Context.
Yeah. Okay. Wait.
That's why. But what I'm saying is it's unfair because it's like, yo, realistically, we go from a religious standpoint. There's many religions in the world, and there's so many religions that allow you to have more than one spouse. Okay? Now, I think that a lot of people don't know or have the courage, especially young men, because we grow up in a Christian country where legally we're only allowed to have one spouse. I was taught since a kid I could only have one wife. It's going to take for me trial and error to having one wife if I deemed myself to have more than one wife to figure out that that's not going to work for me. And it's unfortunate because then people get broken in this process. And I feel like we're not educating each other to say, hey, guess what? Monogamy is a choice. Okay, monogamy is a choice. It's not a natural thing. It is our societal standard and some religious standards as well as polygamy is. But you need to figure out where you fall in line.
So you're saying,
I gotta say this because I struggled with cheating. I'm just keeping it real. I remember high school. As a youngin, I was a cheater, 100%. And I'm not anymore. And a lot of that is because I did make a decision to be faithful to my lady. But on top of that, I also made a decision to be faithful to what I was trying to build. And I think my overall goals, the things that I'm trying to build as not just from a financial standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, all of those things I take into consideration whenever I'm thinking about making the mistake of cheating on my lady, because I know that it can cause calamity in a lot of other areas of my life, not just between that relational piece. You know what I mean? So that's what it's about for me. So it's a choice for me.
Can I just say, I want to say this one thing. And let me finish the statement first. Let me finish it first. I'm not faithful to my wife. I'm faithful to God. She benefits from my relationship with him. What is he at? And again, I understand different religion. I'm not knocking anybody's religion, but based off my personal relationship with God, I choose to be faithful to him. What he requires me to do, what he's asking me to do. She simply benefits from that. That's all that doesn't say temptation doesn't come, war doesn't come, stuff not thrown at me. It's like, okay, Joseph, what is it going to cost me for the next 5 minutes? What is it going to cost me? And I am more afraid of what I would lose than what I'm getting ready to gain.
That's good.
And that don't make me perfect.
Right.
By no means. But if I can answer your first question, one thing I would tell a younger person is this: don't marry who you are, marry who you're becoming.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's really good.
I feel most men cheat because there are more women than men out here, and the population allows them to have temptations on different women. So they can get women in different countries, different states, and a lot of men travel for business, or they have women at work, and there are more single women than men, and so a lot of men cannot turn down temptation, so that's why they cheat.
I do not think that most men cheat. Well, actually, I do think most might, maybe, right? But there's a good amount, a good quality amount that do not.
I don't think every man cheats. I think every man is weak in the sense of having been raised in a Western culture that praises masculinity in ways that might be harmful to society as a whole. And we've since learned a lot more about what it means to be a man and to show vulnerability and emotion in ways that are healthy to development of young boys and men alike.